The glass shattered against the marble countertop like a gunshot in the sterile quiet of the executive kitchen. Shards scattering like the fragments of my unraveling life. "You're fucking him, aren't you?" Nicholas's voice cracked, raw and venomous, his perfectly manicured nails digging into my forearm as if he could claw the truth out of me. In that instant, under the harsh fluorescent lights of our Manhattan high-rise office at 2 a.m., I realized the man I'd been falling for, the one with the ice-blue eyes and the voice like smoked whiskey, wasn't just a ghost in my dreams. He was the storm about to tear us all apart. I never meant to get tangled up in Nicholas's world. Hell, I barely survived my own. Jordan Hayes, 28, mid-level marketing drone at Sterling and Voss. The kind of ad agency where dreams go to die under piles of client briefs and overpriced oat milk lattes. New York chewed you up and spat you out faster than a bad Tinder date. But I'd carved out my corner. A shoebox apartment in Hell's Kitchen, Friday nights at the Eagle with the boys, and a playlist of Springsteen anthems to drown out the subway screeches. Gay as a rainbow flag in June, but picky, too many flakes, too much ghosting. Until Nicholas Vanderbilt waltzed into the open-plan office like he owned the goddamn skyline. He was everything I wasn't, effortlessly glamorous, with that old money polish that screamed Hampton summers and trust funds thicker than my student loans. 26. Sharp as a stiletto, and unapologetically queer in a sea of buttoned-up straights. His laugh echoed through the bullpen like champagne popping, and he'd perch on my desk during lunch breaks, legs crossed in tailored chinos, spilling tea about his latest conquests or the weekend's Fire Island escapade. "Jordan, honey," he'd say, batting those lashes, "you need to loosen up. Life's too short for straight-edge vibes." We'd bonded over bad coffee and worse deadlines, him the firecracker to my steady burn. And then, 6 months ago, he dropped the bomb, engaged. To Andrew Hale. The name alone sent a shiver down the spines of anyone who'd heard the whispers. Andrew Hale, 32, heir to Hale Dynamics, the shadowy conglomerate that pulled strings from Silicon Valley boardrooms to D.C. backrooms. Nicholas met him at some gala in the Hamptons, black tie, caviar, the works, and it was love at first glare, or so the story went. "He's intense, babe," Nicholas confided one rainy Tuesday, scrolling through his phone to show me a blurry selfie. Andrew, all sharp jawline and broader shoulders, his arm slung possessively around Nicholas's waist. Those eyes, piercing blue, like chips of Arctic ice, stared through the screen, and I felt it, that unwelcome tug in my gut. Cold. Distant. The kind of guy who made you feel small just by existing. I met him at the office holiday party, a glittering affair at the plaza where champagne flowed like the Hudson and egos clashed like cymbals. Nicholas had dragged me along as his +1 moral support, decked out in a velvet blazer that hugged his lithe frame like a second skin. I was in my best thrift store suit, nursing a gin and tonic, when they made their entrance. Nicholas, radiant, waving like royalty, and Andrew Jesus, taller than I'd imagined, 6'3" easy, in a bespoke Tom Ford tux that screamed money. His dark hair was slicked back, a single rogue wave falling over his forehead, and that cologne, sandalwood and steel, hit me like a freight train. He shook hands with the execs, all clipped efficiency, but when his gaze landed on Nicholas, something softened. Just a flicker. Then it was gone. "Jordan, this is my fiancé, Andrew," Nicholas beamed, looping his arm through Andrew's like a trophy. "Close, Andrew was even more intimidating. Stubble shadowing that chiseled jaw, lips pressed into a line that could cut glass. His handshake was firm, calloused palms from God knows what. Tennis? Sailing? The rumors said he was a shark in the boardroom. A young alpha wolf who'd clawed his way to VP at Hale Dynamics by 28, outmaneuvering his own father. Pleasure, he said, voice low and gravelly, like he'd smoked a pack after closing a merger. Our eyes locked for a beat too long, and I swear the room tilted. Electricity. The kind that makes your skin hum. Pleasure's mine, I managed, pulling back too quick. Nicholas chattered on about the canapes, oblivious, but Andrew's stare lingered, dissecting me like a quarterly report. I excused myself to the bar, heart pounding, chalking it up to the booze. But later, when Nicholas was schmoozing clients, Andrew cornered me by the coat check. Nicholas speaks highly of you, he said, leaning in, that cologne enveloping me. Says you're the only one who keeps him grounded. I laughed it off, nerves jangling. Someone's gotta rein in the chaos. Our elbows brushed, accidental, and fire licked up my arm. He didn't pull away. Instead, he tilted his head, studying me with those eyes. Grounded. Interesting choice of words. Then Nicholas swept in, all giggles and air kisses, and the moment shattered. But it stuck with me, that brush of skin, like a promise unspoken. From there, it snowballed. Nicholas dragged Andrew to more office events, a rooftop mixer in Soho, a team-building escape room in Brooklyn, and each time, Andrew was there, this brooding presence orbiting Nicholas like a planet around a sun. But his gravity pulled at me too. We'd end up talking, me rambling about indie bands and dive bars, him dropping cryptic insights on the cutthroat world of corporate espionage. It's all smoke and mirrors, Jordan, he'd say over craft IPAs at some speakeasy Nicholas had picked. You think you're climbing the ladder, but it's a snake pit. His laugh was rare, a rumble that vibrated through my chest. And when he'd clap my shoulder, casual, always casual, I'd fight the urge to lean in. Nicholas noticed, of course. Fiancé's got a soft spot for you, he'd tease, winking as we debriefed post-dinner. But there was an edge to it, a flicker of something possessive. Andrew was his prize, the ultimate catch, power, looks, that alpha aura that made lesser men wilt. Yet, in stolen moments, Andrew's guard slipped. Like the night after a brutal pitch meeting, when Nicholas bailed for a headache, leaving me and Andrew at the bar. He ordered whiskeys, neat, and we talked until last call, about his estranged family, the pressure of being the prodigy, how he'd built walls higher than the Empire State. Nicholas. He sees the version I let the world see, he admitted, staring into his glass. The polished one, his knee pressed against mine under the table, warm and insistent. I didn't move. Neither did he. By spring, the lines blurred. Nicholas's wedding planning consumed him, venue hunts in the Berkshires, tux fittings at Bergdorf's, and Andrew became a fixture in my orbit. Late-night texts about nothing. Saw that Springsteen doc. You're right. Thunder Road hits different at 3 a.m., or showing up at my gym in Chelsea, spotting me on bench presses with that half-smile. You're stronger than you look. Haze. Sweat slicked, shirts clinging, the air thick with unspoken want. I told myself it was harmless flirtation, that Andrew was straight-edge loyal, the cold fiancé who'd never stray. But doubt crept in, A whisper in the dark. What if he saw me the way I saw him? Raw. Real. Hungry. It all unraveled on a humid July evening, the kind where the city steamrolls you. Nicholas had insisted on a double date. Him and Andrew, me and my latest flop, a barista named Tyler who talked too much about astrology. We met at Le Bernardin. All white tablecloths and overpriced oysters. Nicholas in a silk shirt unbuttoned to his navel. Andrew in charcoal slacks that hugged his thighs like sin. Tyler was late, as expected, so the three of us started without him. Nicholas dominated, gushing about the cake tasting, but Andrew's eyes kept drifting to me, dark with something feral. Then Tyler arrived, all tattoos and easy charm, and the dynamic shifted. He draped an arm over my chair, laughing too loud at Nicholas's jokes, and I caught Andrew's jaw tighten. Subtle, but there, like a wolf scenting a rival. Dinner dragged, tension coiling like a spring. When Tyler excused himself to the bathroom, Nicholas leaned in, conspiratorial. Babe's been off lately. Stressed from work. He glanced at Andrew, who was staring out at the twinkling midtown lights, profile carved from marble. But tonight, we're celebrating us. He kissed Andrew's cheek, lingering, and Andrew's hand flexed on the tablecloth. Tyler returned, and the night devolved into after-dinner drinks at a rooftop lounge. Fire pits crackled, the skyline a jagged crown, and booze loosened tongues. Tyler pulled me onto the dance floor, some EDM remix pulsing, and I went, glancing back to see Nicholas whispering in Andrew's ear. Andrew's gaze locked on me, unblinking. Possessive, jealous, thrilled and terrified. Later, as Tyler droned about his moon sign, Andrew pulled Nicholas aside for a private word, leaving me alone with the city hum. I stepped to the railing, wind whipping my hair, when Andrew appeared beside me. Silent at first, then, "He's not right for you." His voice was low, edged with gravel. I turned, heart slamming. Close, in the firelight, he was devastating, collar undone, tie loose, that alpha intensity crackling. Tyler? It's casual. Andrew's eyes bored into mine. Casual. Like us. The words hung, heavy. There was an US? My breath caught. What are you? Nicholas interrupted, Tyler in tow, all smiles masking strain. Dance with me, fiancé. Nicholas tugged Andrew away, but not before Andrew's fingers grazed my wrist. Deliberate, scorching. The night ended in a blur of Ubers and awkward goodbyes, Tyler texting me a hard eyes emoji I ignored. Alone in my apartment, Andrew's touch burned like a brand. I scrolled his Insta private, but Nicholas had tagged him in enough. Andrew on a yacht, Andrew at a gala, always alone in the frame, that cold mask firmly in place. But I knew better now. Beneath it, fire. The next week was torture. Nicholas buried in vendor calls. Andrew ghosted, radio silence that felt like withdrawal. Then, Friday, a client crisis hit. Sterling and Voss's biggest pitch, a rebrand for Hail Dynamics Ecoline. Nicholas volunteered me to liaise. Since you and Andrew click so well, I showed up at their Glass Tower HQ in Battery Park. Nerves electric. Escorted to the penthouse by a receptionist who eyed me like fresh meat. Andrew was waiting in the conference room, sleeves rolled up, forearms corded with muscle. No suit jacket, just crisp white shirt clinging to his chest. Jordan, My name on his lips was a caress. We dove in mood boards, taglines, but the air hummed. Halfway through, his knee brushed mine under the table. Again. "Tell me what you really think," he said, leaning forward, voice dropping. "Of the campaign. Of everything." I swallowed, heat pooling. "It's bold. Like you. Bold. Reckless." His smile was wolfish, slow. "Bold can be dangerous." The meeting stretched, excuses to linger, until the building emptied. He walked me out, elevator descending in charged silence. At the lobby, rain lashed the windows, tropical downpour, Manhattan style. "Let me get you a car," he said, but his hand on my elbow said stay. We dashed to his sleek black Audi, laughing like kids, soaked in seconds. He cranked the heat, wipers slashing, and drove, not to my place, but uptown to a dive bar in the village. For old time's sake. Inside, dim and divey, we claimed a corner booth. Shots of Jameson, stories spilling, his first love, a summer fling in Provincetown crushed by family expectations. My awkward coming out in Ohio, Dad walking out the door with my baseball glove. Vulnerability cracked him open, this alpha, this fortress, revealing the man beneath. Lonely, aching for real. "You're not what I expected," he murmured, thumb tracing the rim of his glass, eyes on my mouth. The booth felt too small, his thigh pressed solid against mine. "Nicholas said you were safe." I laughed, bitter. "Safe? Yeah." But his gaze stripped me bare. "Andrew, what are we doing?" He leaned in, breath whiskey warm. "What we've wanted since that party." His hand found my knee, sliding up, possessive. "Sure." Fire exploded. I kissed him first, desperate, tasting salt and need. He growled into it, fingers tangling in my hair, pulling me across the booth. The bar faded. It was just us, raw and unraveling. When we broke, gasping, his forehead pressed to mine. "This is fucked. But God, Jordan, it's real." We tumbled into his Tribeca loft after, rain-slick clothes hitting the floor in a trail to the bedroom. He was everywhere, hands mapping my skin, mouth claiming, that alpha dominance tempered with tenderness. "Mine," he whispered against my throat, and I arched, lost. It wasn't just sex. It was salvation, two souls colliding in the dark. Morning came with coffee and regret. Nicholas's text, "Brunch? Miss you both." Andrew's face hardened, the mask snapping back. "We can't," he said, voice steel. "Not yet." But as I left, his kiss lingered, fierce, fracturing. The affair burned hot and hidden, a secret flame in the gray grind of autumn. Andrew and I snatched moments like thieves. Quick lunches in hidden delis off Park Avenue, where he'd feed me bites of pastrami sandwich, thumb brushing my lip with intent. Stolen nights when Nicholas jetted to LA for client schmoozes, Andrew's loft becoming our sanctuary, bodies entwined till dawn. He was insatiable, that alpha hunger unleashed, pinning me to the wall with a growl, or slow and worshipful, tracing tattoos I didn't know I had with his tongue. "You're undoing me, Hayes," he'd murmur post-climax, arms slung heavy over my waist, breath ragged. And I'd believe him, in those sweat-damp sheets, the city skyline a silent witness. But guilt gnawed, a rat in the walls. Nicholas was my friend, my chaotic, brilliant lifeline. I catch him in the office, eyes shadowed from late nights planning their December wedding, gushing about the vows he'd written. Andrew's the one, Jordan. He sees me, each word twisted the knife. I dodged, buried in work, but cracks showed. Andrew grew bolder, a hand on my lower back during a group dinner, too low for accidental, texts laced with heat, thinking of your mouth on me during this board meeting, that I'd delete in a panic. He called it passion. I called it a fuse to dynamite. The first real fight hit in October, leaves turning gold in Central Park, the air crisp with impending frost. We'd met for a walk, code for makeout session on a bench by the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Reservoir. Andrew was tense, jaw set, fresh off a showdown with his father over the Ecoline launch. He treats me like a pawn, he vented, pacing the path, hands shoved in his wool coat. I pulled him close, kissing the furrow from his brow. You're the king, babe. Own it. He softened, then, melting into me with a sigh. But as we broke apart, his phone buzzed, Nicholas, a string of hearts and, can't wait for tonight's fitting. Andrew's face shuddered. I have to go. The dismissal stung. What are we? Andrew, your side piece. His eyes flashed. That alpha fire. Don't cheapen this. Nicholas. It's complicated. Family expectations. The merger Hale Dynamics hinges on stability. He fits the narrative. Narrative. Like I was a plot twist. And you? What am I? He cupped my face, thumb rough on my cheekbone. Everything I shouldn't want. But fuck, Jordan, I do. We kissed again, bruising, but the seed of doubt sprouted. That night, alone, I scrolled old photos. Nicholas and Andrew at a vineyard tasting, beaming, me, cropped out of group shots like an afterthought. Was I the villain here? The homewrecker in a rom-com gone noir? Nicholas confronted me first. Over egg creams at Gem's in the Village. His favorite greasy spoon. He looked wrecked. Dark circles under his eyes. That usual sparkle dimmed. You've been weird. Geordie. Distant. Spill. I forced a laugh. Stirring my seltzer. Just work. Deadlines killing me, but he wasn't buying. It's Andrew, isn't it? He lights up around you. Like, really lights up. My stomach dropped. What? No. That's. He waved it off. But hurt flickered. I know. He's mine. But sometimes, I wonder if I'm enough. The golden boy. The perfect match on paper. Nicholas Vanderbilt, heir to shipping fortunes, reduced to insecurity. I wanted to confess, to beg forgiveness, but the words choked. Instead, I hugged him tight. You're more than enough. For anyone, lies, sweet as saccharin. The betrayal brewed, slow and insidious. Andrew pulled back. Meetings canceled. Texts sparse. Blaming the merger crunch. I filled the void with Tyler. The barista. Casual hookups that tasted like ash. But jealousy festered. One night, scrolling X, formerly Twitter, I saw it. A paparazzi snap from a gala. Andrew arm in arm with Nicholas. But his eyes. Scanning the crowd. Distant. Caption, power couple alert. Hale Air and Vanderbilt Scion seal the deal? Comments exploded OTP. Heart emojis. I hurled my phone. Glass shattering on the nightstand. Echoes of that kitchen fight yet to come. November brought Thanksgiving, a minefield of family facades. Nicholas hosted at his West Village brownstone, all turkey and tension. Andrew invited me as the work buddy, Nicholas oblivious. The table groaned under sides, sweet potato casserole, green bean bake, relatives chattering about stocks and scandals. I sat across from Andrew, our knees brushing under damask cloth, a silent Morse code of need. His foot hooked my ankle, deliberate, and I nearly choked on my cranberry. Nicholas, at the head, raised a toast, to family, blood, and chosen. His eyes met Andrew's, soft, trusting. Guilt clawed me raw. Post-feast, while ants napped, Andrew cornered me in the pantry, shelves of artisanal jams and heirloom china. "Missed you," he growled, backing me against the door, mouth crashing down. We grappled, frantic, his hands everywhere, my nails raking his back through cashmere. "Andrew, stop. They'll hear." But he didn't, whispering filth against my neck. "Let them. I need you, Jordan. Now." We almost crossed the line right there. But voices approached, Nicholas calling for pie, and we sprang apart, flushed and feral. That night, crashing on Nicholas's guest room couch, couldn't sleep. Andrew slipped in at midnight, barefoot in boxers, sliding beside me. "Shoo," he breathed, pulling me into his chest. We didn't fuck, just held on, his heartbeat a thunder under my ear. "I love you," he said, so quiet I thought I dreamed it. My world tilted. "What about Nicholas? Tell him soon. After the holidays. This merger, it's the last chain." Hope bloomed, fragile. We dozed tangled, but dawn brought reality. Nicholas knocking, coffee in hand, eyes curious. "Cozy," Andrew bolted, leaving me to stammer excuses. The holidays blurred into a fever dream. Nicholas's Christmas party at the Standard, icicle lights, spiked eggnog, where Andrew danced with me in a shadowed corner, slow and swaying to Dean Martin, while Nicholas flirted with bartenders. New Year's at Times Square, Andrew's hand in mine under the crush, countdown ticking like a bomb. This year, Jordan. Us. Fireworks exploded, confetti rain, and I believed. But January cracked the facade. The merger announcement, Hale Dynamics acquiring Vanderbilt Shipping, sealing Andrew and Nicholas's union in ink and vows. Press junkets, photo ops, Andrew's face on every feed, arm around Nicholas, that cold mask perfected. My texts went unread, calls to voicemail. Desperate, I showed up at his office unannounced, security eyeing me like a stalker. He emerged, tie askew, exhaustion carving lines around his eyes. "Jordan, not now. Not now? You've ghosted me for weeks." Voices rose, heads turned. He grabbed my arm, dragging me to a stairwell, echoing, "Empty. It's spiraling." My father's forcing the wedding forward, threatens to cut me out if I bail. Alpha wolf, caged. Then fight. For us. His laugh was hollow. Fight? You think it's that simple? Nicholas is collateral, his family, my legacy. He raked a hand through his hair. "I love you. But this world. It devours weakness. Weakness. Me? Us. Rage boiled. Fuck your legacy. If you won't choose, I'm done." I stormed out, slamming the fire door, tears hot on the sidewalk. The fallout was nuclear. Nicholas called that night, voice slurred from wine. Andrew's a mess. What happened? I lied, work beef, but he pressed. Jordy, be real. I see it. The looks. The touches. Silence stretched. Then, is it you? Is he? With you. Heart in my throat. I denied. Never. But the seed of truth poisoned everything. February's Valentine's was a farce. Nicholas planned a getaway to Aspen ski chalet. Roaring fire, but Andrew begged off. Flew. Instead, he showed at my door. Snow-dusted. Eyes wild. I can't do this. We fell into bed, reclaiming each other in a frenzy of need and despair. Marry me? I gasped after, tracing his scars, old ones from boarding school fights, new from boardroom wars. He stilled. Jordan, screw the merger. We run. California, Europe, anywhere. For a moment, he held me like salvation. Maybe, but dawn brought excuses, and he left with a kiss that tasted like goodbye. The breaking point loomed. Nicholas texted invites. Save the date, June 15th. My forever. I stared at the embossed card. Gold script mocking. Andrew's silence screamed. In a haze, I hooked up with Tyler again, rough, anonymous at a leather bar in the meatpacking district. Numbed, but didn't erase. Andrew's face haunted. That vulnerability, now weaponized. Then, the kitchen. 2 a.m. Post-pitch revisions. Nicholas burst in, wild-eyed, phone in hand, screenshots from an anonymous tip, blurry pics of Andrew and me, leaving that village bar months back. You lying sack of shit. The glass flew, his tumbler, aimed at my head. And missed, exploding on the counter. How long? Jordan, how fucking long? Crumpled, confession spilling like blood. 3 months. I'm sorry, God. Nicholas. I'm so sorry. He lunged, nails raking, sobs wrenching. My fiancé. My best friend. You both. You destroyed me. Punches landed, wild, grief-fueled, until security hauled him away, me bruised and broken on the tile. Andrew arrived at dawn, face ashen. I heard. No embrace. Just reckoning. Choose, I demanded, voice steel. He hesitated. Then, I can't lose everything. The door clicked shut. Betrayal. Complete. Spring unfurled in cruel mockery. Cherry blossoms dusting the paths of Washington Square Park. Couples picnicking under azure skies. While my world rotted from the inside. Nicholas vanished from the office. A ghost in sick leave memos. His brownstone dark when I'd lurk outside like a masochist. Tempted to beg. Andrew, fortress. Hale Dynamics HQ became enemy territory. His number blocked. Emails bounced. The city that once pulsed with possibility now choked me. Subway cars like coffins. Skyscrapers accusatory fingers. I quit Sterling and Voss in a haze of HR forms. Crashing with a cousin in Brooklyn. Nights blurred by bourbon and bad decisions. The scandal simmered underground. Whispers in group chats. Did you hear about Nicholas and Jordan? X lit up with speculation, grainy pics recirculated. Hashtags like corporate cheat and broken vows trending in queer NYC circles. I deleted apps, but isolation bred paranoia. Was Andrew spinning damage control? Had Nicholas lawyered up? My therapist, dragged back after a 2-year hiatus, probed gently. Betrayal's a mirror, Jordan. What does it reflect in you? I laughed, bitter. A fool who fell for the wolf in sheep's clothing. Redemption flickered in fragments. I tempied at a nonprofit in Harlem, helping queer youth navigate coming-outs and college apps. Their stories, raw, resilient, mirrored my fractures. One kid, 17 and wide-eyed, clutched my hand after sharing his rejection letter from family. "You're out and proud, Mr. Hayes." "How?" I swallowed the lump. "One breath at a time, kid. And good people." It grounded me, this humanism amid the hurt, a reminder that love, even shattered, echoed. But Andrew haunted, a specter in dreams, his weight pinning me, that growl unraveling me. Waking sweat-soaked, I'd scroll old texts, masochistic archaeology. Real, he'd called it. Liar. Then, mid-May, a manila envelope slid under my door, no return address. Inside, a USB drive and a note in his slashing script. "Watch. Then decide." Heart hammering, I plugged it into my laptop, screen blooming dark. It was footage, grainy security cam from his loft, time-stamped last December. Andrew alone, pacing, phone to ear. Nicholas's voice tinny. "Babe, the party's a drag without you." Andrew's reply, edged. "Work." Cut to later, him slumping on the couch, head in hands. "Fuck." Then, my voice, outside the door, Nicholas's birthday surprise delivery. Andrew bolts up, yanks it open. Me, grinning with a cake box. "Special delivery from your fiancé." He pulls me in, but the kiss. Hesitant. Camera catches my confusion. His retreat. "Not now, Jordan." He's watching. Montage more clips. Andrew deleting my texts. Jaw clenched. Staring at ultrasound pics. "Wait. What? No." Engagement rings. Nicholas's Pinterest board open. A call log. Endless to his father. "Yes, sir." The merger's on track. Then, a voice memo. Andrews. Dated February. "Jordan, if you're hearing this." I lied. It's not the merger. It's fear. I'm the alpha they built. Ruthless. Untouchable. But you make me human. Terrified human. Nicholas deserves the facade. You deserve the truth. Forgive me. Or don't. Just know I chose wrong. The drive ended. I replayed. Sobs racking. Not just betrayal, self-betrayal. He'd chosen the cage, but the key was mine all along. Fury warred with ache. I hurled the drive. It skittered under the couch. Delete, destroy, or weaponize. Nicholas resurfaced Memorial Day weekend. A text out of nowhere. "Coffee? Neutral ground. No knives." We met at a Alphabet City cafe. Outdoor tables sticky with syrup. Him gaunt in Ray-Bans. Me armored in flannel. Awkward hellos. Then, I dropped him. My coffee sloshed. The wedding. Cancelled. Publicly. Mutual amicability. Privately. I found the texts. The pics. All of it. His voice cracked. Shades slipping to reveal red-rimmed eyes. "Why, Geordie, was I that blind?" Confession clawed up. "You weren't." I was weak. He was. Everything. Nicholas's laugh was shards. Everything except honest. Alpha my ass, coward with a trust fund. We talked for hours, peeling layers, his insecurities, the pressure of legacies, how I'd gaslit myself into complicity. "I loved you." You know, he said softly, squeezing my hand platonic. As family, tears stung. Still do. If you'll let me. Forgiveness isn't a switch, it's a graft. Slow healing. But in that sun-dappled patio, with bagels cooling between us, something mended. Not whole, but scarred strong. Emboldened, I hunted Andrew. Not confrontation, clarity. Hail Dynamics annual gala loomed. Black tie bacchanal at the Met. Invite only elite. I crashed via a temp agency's catering gig, tray of hors d'oeuvres in hand, bow tie choking. The hall glittered, chandeliers dripping light, gowns whispering, tycoons toasting fortunes. I spotted him across the crowd, tuxedo sharp as a blade, surrounded by suits, that cold charisma on full blast. Nicholas was absent, a deliberate ghost. Maneuvering trays, closed in, heart a war drum. He sensed me, head snapping, eyes locking through the throng. Shock, then hunger. Jordan, my name, a plea. I set the tray down, voice low. We need to talk. Now, he nodded, excusing himself with boardroom polish, leading me to a side alcove, marble cool, tapestries muffling the din. You came, his whisper was wrecked, tie loosened. Close. He was hollowed, cheeks sharper, eyes shadowed. The drive. I watched. He winced. I meant it as goodbye. Bullshit. Liar. It was cowardice. Words tumbled. The pain, the isolation, Nicholas's grace. You broke us all. For what? Daddy's approval. Andrew recoiled, then surged, hands framing my face, desperate. For survival. But without you, it's death. His kiss was apocalypse, tasting of champagne and regret, bodies crashing like waves. I shoved him back, gasping. Not that easy, but God, the pull magnetic, merciless. He confessed then, floodgates bursting. The merger's sabotage threats from his father, Nicholas's own flings, a model in Milan, whispered how our affair was his rebellion, his salvation. I thought I could compartmentalize. Alpha bullshit, control everything. Tears tracked his stubble. But love controls you, love. The word hung, electric. The gala faded, security loomed. Meet me tomorrow, I said, slipping a napkin-scribbled address, my new sublet in Williamsburg. No facades. Just us. He nodded, broken open. As I melted into the crowd, tray reclaimed, hope flickered, tenuous, but alive. That night, sleep evaded, mind racing scenarios, reconciliation, ruin. Dawn brought his knock, disheveled in joggers, coffee tray in hand. We talked on the fire escape, city waking below, vulnerabilities bared, no alphas, just men. I quit the board, he admitted. Told my father to fuck off. Starting my own firm, green tech. Real impact. Reinvention. Humanistic. American dream reborn. But conflict lingered. Nicholas texted mid-confession. Saw him at the gala. You okay? Bridge burning time. I replied honestly, talking. Healing. His response. Good. Deserve it. But if he hurts you again, I key his Audi. Laughter bubbled, friendship's stubborn root. Andrew and I rebuilt slow walks in Prospect Park. Picnics of bodega sandwiches. Nights where touch was tentative, relearning trust. He was softer sans armor, joking about bad hair days, belting off-key to the killers in the shower. Sex reignited, but tender now. I locked intimacies over frantic fucks. "I choose you," he'd whisper, tattooing it on my skin. Yet climax brewed. June 15th, the ghost wedding date. Andrew's father struck. Leaked emails, fabricated scandals painting Andrew as unstable, me as gold digger. Stocks tanked. Headlines screamed, "Hail Air's queer meltdown." Reporters swarmed my stoop. Flashes blinding. Andrew barricaded, raging, "He'll bury us." Panic clawed, "Flee? Fight?" I pulled him to the window, skyline defiant. "We don't run. We rise. Call Nicholas." Alliance forged in fire. He lawyered up Vanderbilt clout and we countersued, exposing the old man's manipulations. Press conference in a sunlit loft. Andrew at podium, voice steady. "This isn't about legacy. It's about love. Real, messy love." My hand in his, public for the first time. Cameras clicked. The world watched. The backlash hit, trolls, threats, but support surged. Queer icons tweeting solidarity. Allies marching. In the eye, Andrew turned to me, eyes shining. "Alpha's dead. Just us now." Summer scorched the city into a pressure cooker. Humidity thick as the unresolved tension coiling between us. Andrew's new venture, Hail Renewables, launched from a converted warehouse in Dumbo. All exposed brick and solar prototypes. A far cry from his father's glass monolith. I jumped ship fully, co-heading marketing, our days a blur of pitch decks and prototype tests. Nights, sanctuary in our Bushwick row house, creaky floors, herb garden on the fire escape, bed where we'd collapse, limbs entangled, whispering futures. "Kid someday?" He'd muse, fingers tracing my hip. "Adopted, maybe." Teaching M to spot bullshit alphas a mile away. I'd laugh, but the dream rooted, humanistic and hopeful. Nicholas wove back in, a phoenix of spite and sparkle. He started a podcast, Queerly Beloved, spilling unfiltered on betrayal, healing, hookups gone wrong. First guest, me. In his sun-drenched studio, mic's hot. We unpacked the wreckage. It wasn't just about Andrew, I admitted, voice cracking. It was my fear of being alone in this big, bad city. Nicholas nodded, fierce. And mine of not being the star. But damn, Jordy, we survived. Listeners flooded DMs. Stories of their own triangles. Thanks for the rawness. It humanized us, turned poison to purpose. But Andrew's father, Victor Hale, silver fox with a serpent's smile, loomed like a guillotine. The countersuit dragged. Depositions in oak-paneled firms where his lawyers dissected our lives. "Mr. Hayes, isn't it true you seduced the plaintiff for career advancement?" I fire back, calm. "Love isn't a transaction. Counselor. Try reading a book." Andrew, beside me, squeezed my knee, solidarity. Yet privately, doubts gnawed him. Late nights, he'd pace the kitchen, scotch in hand. "What if we lose?" He cuts me off. Everything crumbles. I pull him down, grounding. Then we rebuild. Together. That's the American way, right? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Or in our case, rainbow laces. The real storm hit in August. Heat wave peaking. AC units wheezing citywide. Victor summoned Andrew to the family estate in the Hamptons. Sprawling modernist monstrosity on Georgica Pond, all infinity pools and inherited Picassos. Final offer, the email read. Drop the suit, marry Nicholas, or watch your empire burn. Andrew showed me, face ashen. He knows about us. Threatens to out the whole affair. Paint Nicholas as the jilted victim, me the villain, betrayal's echo chamber. I pushed, go. End it face to face. He resisted. You'll come, but I refused. Your fight, babe. But win it for us. He left at dawn. Range Rover kicking gravel. Me alone with the hum of the fridge and a knot in my gut. Hours stretched. Text sparse. He's unyielding. Then radio silence. By midnight, panic-clawed visions of forced handshakes. Nicholas summoned as pawn. I called him. Andrew's at the estate. Victor's cornering him. Nicholas cursed. Live from a Pride after-party. On my way. Back up. Brooklyn to Hamptons. 2 hours in rush hour hell. But Nicholas floored it in his Porsche. Me shotgun. Wind whipping our fury. We arrived at 2 a.m. Gates ajar like an omen. The house glowed. Silhouettes arguing in the study. Andrew's broad back to the window. Victor gesticulating like a dictator. Nicholas and I burst in. Uninvited. Party's over. Vic. Nicholas drawled. Shades perched. All Vanderbilt venom. Victor blinked. Fox to hounds. You. The discarded. Andrew whirled. Relief flooding. Jordan? What? I stepped forward. Chin up. Finishing what you started. Chaos erupted. Accusations flying. Victor hissing about deviant distractions. Nicholas retorting with leaked merger docs proving embezzlement. Andrew, Alpha unleashed, slammed his fist on the desk. Enough. I'm done playing your game. That. The suit stands. The company, mine on my terms or nothing. Victor lunged, pathetic. Really, but Andrew sidestepped. Voice steel. Love me or lose me. Your call. Silence crashed. Victor deflated. Old man stripped bare. You were supposed to be better. Andrew's reply. Quiet thunder. I am. Because of them. He nodded to us, me and Nicholas. United in wreckage. Victor slunk away. Tail between legs. The estate emptying like a bad dream. We drove back at dawn. Windows down. Salt air whipping. Andrew's hand in mine over the console. Nicholas belting show tunes from the back. Laughter bubbled. Manic. Cathartic. At a diner in Riverhead. Pancakes steaming. Toasts clinked. To Alphas dethroned. Eyes met, Andrew's on mine. Soft with wonder. My heroes, he murmured. Home by noon. We collapsed in a heap, 3 broken souls. Mending. Fall brought harvest. Suit settled out of court. Victor exiled to Florida golf courses. Hail renewables booming with VC buzz. Andrew proposed. Not on bended knee. But over takeout low main on the fire escape. Ring simple platinum with a sapphire. My birthstone. Marry me. Jordan Hayes. Not for show. For us. Tears blurred. I nodded, kissing him salt sweet. Hell yes. Wedding planning was chaos incarnate, Nicholas as best man. Officiant a drag queen named Divine Intervention. Venue. A rooftop in Williamsburg. Skyline vista. String lights twinkling. Guests. Queer found family. Nonprofit kids beaming in bow ties. Vows raw mine. You taught me love's not a cage, it's wings. I was lost in the alpha myth. You brought me home, but climax crested pre-ceremony. Nerves jangling. Andrew vanished, half hour to go. Groomsmen panicking. Nicholas found him on the roof, staring at the Hudson. Tie undone. Cold feet. Andrew shook his head. Fear. What if I fuck it up again? Hurt him like I hurt you. Nicholas clapped his shoulder. Brotherly. You will. We all do. But that's love. Forgiving the fuck-ups. Wisdom from the wounded. Andrew returned. As clear. Pulling me into a pre-vow kiss that sealed souls. The I-do's echoed as sun dipped. City a golden halo. Reception raged. Disco ball spinning. Cake smashed in faces. Toasts roasting our scandals. Dancing cheek to cheek to at last. Andrew whispered. Forever starts now. Fireworks, literal. Over the East River mirrored the burst in my chest. Winter whispered change. Holidays healed. Joint dinner with Nicholas's new beau. A sculptor with kind eyes. Andrew's tentative bridge to Victor. Cards exchanged. No hugs yet. We adopted a rescue mutt. Alpha. Ironically, curly fur and boundless energy. Teaching us patience. Mornings. Coffee black. Walks in snow-dusted parks. Andrew's arm my anchor. Yet humanism's core. Not perfection, but persistence. Andrew's firm hired ex-cons for green jobs. Second chances sown. I mentored at the non-profit. Stories shared in circles. Nicholas's pod hit top charts. Voices amplified. Therapy tandem. Unpacking alphas and anxieties. Emerging whole. One night. Post-honeymoon in Provincetown. Beaches windswept. Lobster rolls devoured. Andrew traced my wedding band. Regrets. I pulled him close. Waves crashing chorus. None. You're my storm. My calm. He smiled. That rare. Full one boyish. Free. And you're my everything. The years folded like well-worn pages. Each crease a lesson etched in laughter and quiet scars. By our third anniversary, Hale Renewables had greened half the eastern seaboard, solar farms blooming in Rust Belt towns. Jobs for the forgotten. Andrew at TED Talks preaching power to the people. Literally. No more alpha posturing. He was the guy in flannel at block parties, flipping burgers for neighbors. His once cold eyes now crinkled with joy. Me, partnered creative director. Campaigns that tugged heartstrings. Ads of queer dads at Little League. Immigrants powering their first homes with our panels. Nicholas, podcast empire. Book deal. Engaged again to the sculptor. A low-key ceremony in Fire Island we crashed with toasts and tears. But life's not linear. Conflicts simmered beneath the bliss. Andrew's past clawed back in waves. Victor's death in spring. Stroke on the 9th hole. Ironic end for a cutthroat. The funeral was a farce. Distant cousins circling like vultures. Andrew delivering a eulogy that balanced truth and grace. He built walls to protect us. I tore them down to set us free. Back home. He shattered. A mug hurled. Sobs muffled in my shirt. Hated him. Loved him. Fuck. We grieved messy. Bonfires on the beach. Ashes scattered in the pond he'd loathed. Therapy unpacking the orphan ache. Betrayal's ghost revisited too. Sutler. A junior exec at the firm, eager. Ambitious. Flirted shameless. Texts Andrew showed me with a wry smile. Your type. Jealousy flickered. Old wounds itching. Nah. Too polished. I like my men with a side of chaos. But it sparked talks, boundaries redrawn, trust reaffirmed in candlelit dinners, where we'd list gratitudes. His, your laugh, still my favorite sound. Mine, your hands, safe harbor. The deepest conflict crested with family building. We talked kids, but reality bit, fertility clinics, adoption hoops, hearts laid bare on forms. What if we're not enough? Andrew voiced one rain-lashed night. Adoption packet crumpled. I cupped his face. Echoes of our alleyway prompt. We are. Flaws and all. Enter Luca. For. Foster system vet. Dark curls and defiant chin. Home visit. He eyed us wary, clutching a worn dinosaur. Andrew knelt. This guy's got your back, kid. Name's Rex. Laughter cracked the ice. By week's end, Luca chose us. Papers signed in a courtroom that smelled of hope. Parenting was apocalypse and grace. Luca's nightmares from past homes. Andrew rocking him at 3 a.m. Voice a gravel lullaby. School runs where I'd pack lunches with notes. You're brave like a T-Rex. Conflicts arose. Luca outed at recess. Bullies snarling slurs. Andrew's alpha roared. PDA showdown. Zero tolerance policy forged. But humanism won. Playdates with diverse crews. Story hours on Stonewall. Teaching Luca, love's a spectrum. But own your colors. Nicholas became Uncle Nick. Spoiling with glittery toys and Auntie the sculptor. Theo, baking lopsided cakes. Holidays evolved. Blended feasts. Victor's old recipes reclaimed. Toasts to the ones who shaped us. For better or worse. One Christmas, Luca gifted Andrew a drawing. Us three under a rainbow. Stick figure strong. Tears fell. Andrew framed it by the mantel. Climax revisited in micro. A boardroom coup at the firm. Rivals gunning for Andrew's vision. Dredging affair scandals for leverage. Depositions dredged pain. Lawyers probing. Isn't your marriage built on infidelity? Andrew. Unflinching. Yes. And forgiveness. That's strength. I testified beside. Hand under table. We rose from ashes. Try us now. Victory tasted sweet. Coup quashed. Shares soared. But the real win? Dinner that night. Luca's head on Andrew's lap. Us recounting like war stories. Beat the dragons again. Papa. Andrew ruffled his hair. Every time. Champ. Aging crept gentle. Andrew's temples silvering. My laugh lines deepening. But desire endured. Mornings slow and sensual. Anniversaries wild in hotel suites. Recapturing that first rain-soaked Audi. Still my storm, he'd growl. Pinning me with that familiar fire. Always my calm, I'd counter. Arching into him. The alleyway scene replayed. Transformed. Not confrontation. But commemoration. On our 10th. We returned. That midtown dive. Neon flickering, hearts heal here now. Rebranded. Rain slicked the pavement. Andrew pulled me close. No collar grab. Just embrace. Remember. His voice. Whiskey soft. How I almost lost you. I kissed him. Rain mingling tears. You found us. All of us. Humanism's arc. Not fairy tale gloss, but gritty redemption. Andrew mentored young queer execs. Dismantling alpha myths in keynotes. Vulnerabilities the real power. I wrote a memoir, our story. Unvarnished. Chapters on betrayal's bite. Love's bomb. Hitting shelves with Nicholas's foreword. To the heartbreaker who mended mine. Luca devoured it at 16. eyes wide. You guys are legends. We laughed. Group hug sticky with pizza. Ending? No tidy bow. Life's a thread, fraying and reforged. But on a crisp autumn eve, walking the High Line, Luca at college now, majoring in virosci, Andrew stopped, hand in mine, city sprawling eternal. Worth the wreckage? I leaned in, forehead to his. Every shattered piece, he smiled, that boyish one, eternal. Love you, Hayes, forever, hail. And in that moment, under harvest moon and humming skyline, we were whole, dramatic, emotional, romantic souls, American to the core, flawed, fierce, forever.